Well, I got this little glass jar here for £1 at a car boot sale recently. I suppose that's the equivalent to a yard sale for people in America. And it's a great little jar with a nice little cork on the top. I'm going to give it a bit of a clean, bit of a wash up as well, because it's a tiny little bit grubby. But other than that, it's fine. And I'm going to make a terrarium with it. But a fun one. What I'm going to do is I made a little character a while back on my other channel and I cast it in silicone. So I'm going to make him. I'm also going to make a little pond. And I'm going to cast some rocks, put some soil in it, and do it from there. To make the little pond, I don't want the pond too big, so I'm going to have it that sort of size, and I think that should be okay. But we can check it anyway before we go ahead and cast it. And this is just a piece of packaging foam that I got with something that was delivered, and I do like to keep it, and as you know, I use it a lot for things like that. So all I'm going to do, I have made it slightly smaller. All I'm doing is going around it with my little blade here, which is nice and sharp, and I think that might actually be a little bit too rude looking in that shape. But it's an ideal size, but I think I might change the shape slightly because it looks like something a little bit naughty and rude. So let's do something slightly different than that. There you go. That looks a bit better. So we'll cut that out in exactly the same way, and we can double check that that is still going to fit in the glass jar, because by popping the inside in, the bit of foam that we cut out, that is going to tell us if it'll fit, because whatever we cast will be exactly that size. Yeah, it fits lovely, look, in there. So that's going to be the little pond, like that, so I can cast that. I've also got a rock mold that I made as well, and they work really well, so I'm going to make one of those. I was going to do some larger ones, but I think they'll be too large. I'm going to cast these out of Resincrete, because then I can paint them and seal them and put them in there once I've got all the soil and everything in. I'll just make a quick base for this so the Resincrete just doesn't pour out everywhere. And that's easy to do. You've seen me do this before for lots of things. Just take a piece of cardboard, make sure that fits on there. It does. And then cover that in normal packing tape. Oh, I do hate that when that happens and I can never find the end. Or when it splits. So that's nice and covered now. That's not going to go anywhere at all. And that can just sit on there like that, but that will just float up, of course, if we're not careful. So all I'll do is I'll pop some double-sided tape around this, like this, and then that'll stick that down enough onto here for the Resincrete not to run out. Now, you don't have to cast your own models. You could get little pieces that are already pre-made. There's tons of little animals and gnomes and things out there that you can buy really, really cheaply for this. So I've got my Resincrete mixed up, and what I've done is I've let it sit in the pot a little bit longer than normal, so it's actually a little bit thicker than normal, because that way it isn't going to leak out anywhere in this foam. I don't mind about the bubbles. I can live with those. I'm going to put it in a little bit to this mould. Now this is quite a strong mould, so I'm hoping that I don't break it when I get it out. Let's make sure I've got every bit in there, including his hat. Pop a stick in there in case there's any bubbles attached anywhere. It is quite a small, tight mould. The chances I will break this when I take it out. I know what I'm like. I know how heavy-handed I am. So I've got that filled. Let's do the rocks. I might not use the rocks, but then I might. I can always break the rocks up and make them look a bit smaller. And now we'll leave that to cure before I do anything else. I'll leave that to cure an hour before I do anything else to make sure that I don't break it when I take it out of that mould. And now I'm going to give this jar a quick clean using some 99% alcohol and a cloth. Because not only will that get rid of any dirt that's on here or anything that's sticky, but it'll also kill any possible germs that are on here that could contaminate the planting little jar. I did manage to get the little dude out in one piece. I forgot to record it, so I apologise for that. But it did come out and it cured lovely and hard. So the next thing is to see how the rocks have come out. And they've come out great as well, look. And now it's just the little pond. Oh, and the little pond's come out really well. I'm going to just smooth this off a little bit going round here where it has leaked slightly under, but not too bad. And he's going to stand beside that once it's all been painted, and I may make a little fishing rod or something for him. But before I paint these, what I will do is leave these on one side for about 3 or 4 days, just so they are completely cured up and I've got no moisture in them at all. And I find that you get a much better result from them like that. These are all lovely and dry now. As always, Resincrete goes really hard. It paints superbly well. I love it. I painted with acrylic paint, and I've also put some kits together now of unpainted items that I've been selling, and they're going really, really well. So first thing I'm going to paint is this here. Now this is going to be buried into the dirt when I put it in there, so I'm not going to really see the outline, so I'm not too bothered about that. It's just a little pond. It's not really pond shape, but I like it, and that's all that matters. So I'm going to mix a little bit of a light blue with a little bit of ultramarine. There, like that. Paint this on, and then I'm going to dip my brush in it so I get kind of like swirls of different colours. Look how lovely that paints. Love Resincrete. So many people have said to me now, thank you so much for telling us about Resincrete. They are having a ball with it. I'm going to paint the sides just in case any of those come up, and I'm going to paint those with more of the darker colour. There we are. Now I'm going to add a little bit of white to that, like that. Mix that all around the edges of the pond, because that's where it'd be its shallowest, so it's going to be a lighter colour there, isn't it? Blend that through with a little bit of water. And there we go, that's my pond painted. I will varnish that because I want that to be shiny, because obviously water's shiny. And now I'm going to do my little dude, and I'm going to paint his jeans all blue, this kind of colour blue, and his shirt and all that different colours. But I'm not going to put you through the agony of having to watch that. So I'll show you what he looks like once he's been painted. These are all painted now. I'm really pleased with how they've come out, especially the little dude. Now my son said to me, Dad, you've got to make sure he doesn't look like some perv standing in the bushes. So he's not going to look like that. I want the pond to be quite glossy, well, really, really glossy. So what I'm going to do is use some UV resin over the top of the pond, and that will make it lovely and shiny. I'm going to varnish these in a matte varnish purely to seal them, and so that if any moisture and things gets into them, they're not going to get ruined. I'm using just a standard J. Diction UV resin here, which is the new formula, which is the low odour one, and it cures a little bit quicker than what it used to before. Look at that, that's transformed that already to being really nice and glossy. Get it everywhere. Yeah, that's lovely. I'm going to cure that up for about 2 or 3 minutes using my UV torch. And I'm also going to give these now a quick coat of this matte varnish all the way over, including the bases. And then once these are dry, I will plant it up, quickly show you what plants I'm going to use and everything else, and how I'm going to finish it all off. Everything's dry now, and I'm ready to put this together. I've got my gravel, I've got my soil, I've got my little plant that we grew from just a cutting. I use these all the time, and my pieces. Now I've cut a piece of mesh here, and all that is the stuff that you put in front of your doors or windows to stop flies and gnats coming in. Dirt cheap, much cheaper than the stuff that you can buy that's supposed to be used for that. Now, before I go ahead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my little man on the rock, because he's going to be standing on the rock with his hands in his pocket looking at the little pond. I have dropped him about 10 times today. Thankfully, he hasn't broken, which is great. But that's why I need to glue him on as well, because if not, he is going to fall over, and I don't want to bury him boots deep into the dirt. I'm using my cordless glue gun here. Love this. This is the new one. I love it. It's about the same price as the other one, but actually it works really well, and it heats up so quickly. If you want to get hold of one, I will link it in the description below. It is brilliant. Look how quickly that has heated up. Just going to glue him onto there. Little bit of glue, so he looks like he's standing looking over into the water. So he's not going to go anywhere now. He's got a really nice solid base. Turn this off, don't need it anymore. 15 seconds, that's all that takes to heat up. So first thing is, I've got some of this red gravel. We had loads of it left over when we had our driveway done. And I'm going to put this into the bottom. And this is really to act as drainage, but also it gives it a little bit more of an interest. Take that out so it's nice and level. Then I'm going to pop my disc on the top of that so the soil doesn't get mixed up with the gravel. And now I can put my soil in. We grow hundreds of these every year. They take about a year to get to about that sort of size, and they sell really, really well if we do car boot or if we do craft fairs. Level that off a little bit more. Put the pond in. Pond is going to go to about there. I want the soil to go up to the pond so you can't really see it. Rachel's one of my members. I was talking to her about making a terrarium, and she suggested that I do this, which was a great suggestion. I so appreciate it. Okay, and the little man is going to stand there looking over the pond like that. He looks happy. And then the plant is going next to him. And that plant will grow in there quite happily and fill out that pot. You may have to take leaves off it every now and again. But that is not a problem, because any leaves that you take off it, all you need to do is plant them up, pop them in a bit of soil, plant them up, and then you've got another plant to use for something else. Something like this, or, well, whatever you want to use it for. And it's all finished now. I think that's come out brilliant. I was going to sell this at the next craft fair that I had, but I like it so much that I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to try and get myself another jar from somewhere and do something similar. I could pop the cork back on like that, but I will leave the cork out for a few hours, probably after I've watered it. Although the cork is obviously porous, I've cleaned the cork up a little bit. Well, I love it. I think he's come out great. Let me know in the comments what you think. If I was to sell that at car boot sale, I'd probably sell that for about £30. It's cost me nothing. The jar cost me £1. The plant I grew myself. We already had the soil and the gravel because we've got tons of it. The little rock and the man and that I probably made for about £2. Bit of time. So I would make great profit on that. Ideal. Love it. Thank you, Rachel, again. Please boot that like button if you've enjoyed this, and share this video as much as you can. Try and grow this channel. It really does help if you share the video on other sites. Leave me a comment. I love to read comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Be sure to check out the video that I've got coming up next. I think you're going to love that. It's also another brilliant seller. And it's something that people don't often think about as well. So give that a look. Take care. Enjoy your crafting. Bye.